In today's video, I want to share with you some tips for when it comes to caring for over-processed perimenopausal hair. I've been on quite a journey with my hair these past years, and I want to share what I've learned with all of you. Welcome back to Selfcare Karen. Thank you so much for being here. Selfcare Karen is all about empowering you to enhance your own self-care. Here on YouTube, I create guided meditations, EFT tap-alongs, and videos like this where I review products or give tips or share practices that I think will make your self-care easier. Outside of YouTube, I sell related products and services, and you can find out more about what I do in the video description. There you will also find details about how you can join my mailing list. And if you do join my mailing list, not only do you get 3 free downloads to begin with, but you also get access to exclusive discounts for my products and services. So for the stuff that I sell online, as well as the fact that I share lots of tips and inspirational information on the regular newsletters that I send out. This video is not sponsored, but I am an Amazon associate, which means that I may earn from qualifying purchases. The products I mention in today's video will be listed in the video description, and for any that are available on Amazon, you'll see that there will be a link included. This is an affiliate link, which means that I may receive a small commission if you purchase using that link. This is at no extra cost to you, but actually the small amounts of commission that I make help me continue to provide content here on YouTube. Also, my apologies if there's any background noise, cue the builder speaking. There is building work going on where I am, and there is just not a good time to film, so I'm doing it now because I've got a break in my diary, so I'm getting going with it. So today I'm sharing something that's really close to my heart, my top hair care tips for perimenopausal over-processed hair. I have been going through the perimenopause for what feels like forever, and I've been dyeing my hair to cover my greys for even longer. So if you're anything like me, you know the struggle, oily roots, dry ends, maybe a bit of breakage, and sometimes feeling like your hair has got a mind of its own. But over time, I found some things that I think really make a big difference in terms of having that confidence in, well, at least me having more confidence in my hair. And I want to share the tips that I've learned on this journey with you. First off, though, let's talk about what the perimenopause actually does to hair. The perimenopause really shakes things up for your hair. Hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, start dropping. And because they keep hair strong and lush, you'll probably notice there are some changes in your hair because of the changes in your hormones. Also, the texture tends to shift, so hair can suddenly feel much more dry, frizzier or coarser, even if you're used to having really silky, soft hair. And also some women find the opposite, like their hair gets greasier at the roots. There's also more likelihood of thinning and shedding. You might see more hair in the brush or in the shower drain, and your ponytail, if you pull your hair back, it might feel not as thick as it used to. Also, it may feel like your hair is growing at a slower rate. It feels like it doesn't grow back as quickly. And then the colour might change. So you'll get maybe greys, they might come at a faster rate, or just generally your colour will be a little bit different than it was before. And you might find that some of the greys are like wiry and stubborn. Your scalp might change. It could get drier, itchier, more sensitive. Basically, your hair isn't misbehaving for no reason. It's reacting to this kind of hormonal roller coaster that you're on. The good news is, though, there are things that you can do to kind of lessen the impact of these hormonal changes, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, the things that I've sort of found that help. As a side note, I do take HRT, and I would definitely recommend that every woman at, you know, perimenopausal age educates themselves and advocates for their own well-being. You need to understand what's going on and what's available to you so that you can access the best kind of care that will help you on your journey as you can. So it might be through HRT, it might be through supplements or some other treatment or way forward, but you need to advocate for yourself. Also, just to say, there are consequences for regularly dyeing your hair. When you dye your hair a lot, it's like putting your hair through boot camp constantly, again and again. Dye works by opening up the cuticle, or at least some dyes do, by opening up the cuticle, which is the outer layer of the hair, so that the colour can get in. But doing this regularly comes with side effects like dryness, the cuticle gets roughed up and doesn't seal well, or your hair loses moisture more easily. It could be increased breakage. Over time, the strands can get weaker, snap, and especially at the ends of the hair. And then you may also find that you get texture changes, that your hair feels rougher, less silky, and it's harder to manage. Also, and I get this every now and again, there might be colour build-up. Too much overlapping of dye jobs can make some areas a lot darker, a lot duller, or maybe even kind of uneven. I often talk about stripy hair, right? Your scalp might get irritated because of the constant exposures to chemicals. You can make your scalp more sensitive, more itchy. And you may find that your hair is kind of a bit slower to bounce back, doesn't recover as quickly from things like heat or styling because it's already been, you know, stressed. Basically, dyeing gives you gorgeous colour, or it can give you gorgeous colour, but it steals a bit of your hair strength every time you dye your hair. Okay, so what tips do I have to help you get over these two hurdles, the perimenopause and frequent dyeing of your hair that causes over-processed hair? I've got 7 tips to share with you today, plus a bonus one at the end for those that are actually dealing with grey hairs that they want to cover up. One thing I will say before getting started is that I've not used heat on my hair on a regular basis for absolutely ages, and I'm talking probably 10 years. My hair dries very quickly, so I washed it about an hour and a half ago and it's already pretty much dry. And I've never really found a way to add heat styling to my day routine. I mean, let's face it, I'm a little bit lazy, but anyway, so just so you understand that I don't use heat on my hair. Okay, tip number 1 is to use leave-in conditioner. Honestly, this has been a game changer, a literal game changer for me. I always apply now a leave-in conditioner after washing my hair before I even think about brushing or combing my hair. Oh, I'm so sorry for the noise. It just gives that slippage so that the brush can glide through without tugging, and that means your hair's delicate. It's really delicate when it's wet, so I'm sort of treating it with much more tender, loving care. So today I use this John Frieda Frizzy's Miraculous Recovery Daily Miracle Leave-In Conditioner. But some of my other favourites that I've already featured on my channel is the Pureology Colour Fanatic. This is kind of a little bit more expensive. Love the Pantene Go Longer Leave-In Cream. And then another one that I've kind of using at the moment is the Aveda Nutri-Plenish leave-in conditioner, and hopefully the ones that I haven't yet covered in more depth on my channel I will do soon. And you know, these leave-in conditioners make your hair feel like it's nourished, and they help with the frizz. Some of them also protect from heat, from UVA, UVB damage, but generally I have found a massive improvement in like the quality of my hair since incorporating a leave-in conditioner into my routine. Tip number 2 is always use a wet brush, okay? My hair is just so much more fragile since I've gone into the perimenopause, especially when it's wet. I said your hair's really delicate when it's wet. And this brush, and you can get different styles. This one's their mini one, but you can get larger ones, different colours, all of that. It just makes detangling so much easier. It glides through without ripping or tugging, and honestly, I don't think I could go back to any kind of normal brush or comb now. So the combo of the leave-in conditioner and then the wet brush really is a winner for me. Also, this is super easy to clean. So what I do is I wash it after each use on wet hair, because obviously there'll be some product residue here. Okay, so let's move on to tip number 3, and that's all about repair treatments. So I like to treat my hair a bit like I do with my skin. And so once a week, or maybe once every 10 days, once every 2 weeks, I'll do some added little TLC, and that really does make a difference. So there are bonding and there are repair products that really can help strengthen the hair, smooth it out, and stop it from feeling like straw. I try to use, as I say, on a weekly basis. Sometimes I go a bit longer. And some of my favourites are the K18 Leave-In Molecular Repair Mask, and I do have an in-depth video about this hair mask, which I will link up here. But there are loads of more affordable options. For example, the L'Oreal Elvive Glycolic Gloss range is fantastic, but in particular their 5-minute lamination treatment. I've got a video about this range and I'll link it up here. And I can also definitely recommend the L'Oreal Elvive Bond Repair Pre-Shampoo Treatment. Again, I have a review video here, but I use this as a hair mask, so not a pre-shampoo. The same for the Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate Intensive Pre-Treatment. So I use it as a hair mask. I leave it on for about 30 minutes to an hour and then I wash it off. So this is after I've shampooed my hair. And while I've got it on, I use tip number 4, a microfibre hair turban. So this is really important, and I made the change ages ago to a microfibre hair turban because it really cuts down on drying time, but it also cuts down on the frizz, and it also is a way gentler way to deal with your hair than a regular towel is. As I've said, I've been using one for years. You can pick them up quite inexpensively. They make a massive difference, and I will put a link to some that you can get off of Amazon that are really affordable. Another swap that I did a while back is switching from a regular pillowcase to a silk one. And really, silk is your best friend. So think pillowcases, think hair ties, think scrunchies. It's not about luxury, it's really just about reducing friction. I also find them to be incredibly cooling, like the silk pillowcase is very cooling on the skin, which I find helpful with night sweats. It can help reduce breakage, and it really feels amazing. If you think silk is a bit out of your reach, then a good compromise is satin. In fact, my scrunchie that I tie my hair back with at night is satin. Okay, so on to tip number 6, and that is getting regular trims. This one's simple but really powerful, and I know it feels a little bit kind of counterintuitive when you're trying to grow your hair, which I've been really trying to grow my hair, but honestly, cutting off those split ends stops the damage travelling up the strand. At least that's what it feels like. I don't know if that's absolutely scientific. So I do notice that when my ends get really straggly, or scraggly even, the look and feel of my hair I haven't got that confidence anymore. So I do a regular trim, and actually in my journey I've been less focused on stimulating growth and more focused on how I can improve the quality of the hair that I have. But that seems to have had this impact that my hair is getting longer and stronger, which is great. So I do get less breakage now, and that has had a really positive impact on how I think and feel about my hair. Oh, and I do cut my own hair, so this means that I've got no excuses. I have a video on how I do that, and I will link that video up here. But obviously you don't have to cut your own hair if you do not want to. Just for me, it's a game changer as well, because it means that I can always quickly cut my hair, and it takes me about 5 minutes, right? So no trip to the hairdresser that takes hours. Tip 7 is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And by the way, I couldn't find out who that quote came from, but I think it's really fitting for my 7th tip here. Your hair is changing, especially if you're in the perimenopause or you're in the menopause. And so if you rely on the same routine, the same products, as you have done for years, that doesn't make sense to me, right? So you should try stuff that is different, right? At least give it a go. And I have to say, I'm so lucky through this channel I have the legitimate excuse of trying new things all the time so that I can bring reviews to you. But you do not need to have a YouTube channel to give yourself permission to try new things. And hopefully in this video I'll have given you some inspiration from a routine perspective, like little changes that you can make to improve the quality and look and feel of your hair. From the perspective of what is the right shampoo, what is the right conditioner for your hair, my suggestion would be is that you focus, the shampoo should focus on addressing what's going on with your scalp. Is it dry? Is it oily? Is it sensitive? That sort of thing. And then pick a conditioner that addresses the lengths of your hair. So do you want additional hydration, additional moisture? I do not think that you need to spend a fortune on hair care products. There are so many affordable options out there, and I tend to focus on that end of the spectrum or the market with the reviews that I do. So let me link my hair care playlist here so you can easily see which videos where I've reviewed products might interest you. Okay, finally we are on to my little bonus tip or my bonus hack. My greys, the grey roots, tend to start showing 2 to 3 weeks after I've dyed my hair. Sometimes I use a cover-up spray, and in fact I have a video where I review 3 different ones. I'll try and link that up here. But if you want a more permanent solution but you haven't got the time to really go and recolour your hair, again I do that at home but it still takes time, what I do is I mix up a little bit of eyebrow dye and I apply it to just where I can see the greys coming through. I leave it on a few more minutes than I would for my eyebrows, but not a lot longer. Then I wash it out and I've covered my greys. This works for me because my eyebrow colour is the same, or I want it to be the same as my hair colour. But I guess if you have, you know, dark brows and blonde hair, that's not going to work for you. Okay, so those were my top tips for looking after perimenopausal over-processed hair. It's all about, for me at least, it's all about these small, consistent changes, and they do add up, and they do or have given me stronger, shinier, healthier looking hair. I would absolutely love to hear what your favourite hair care tip is in the comments. I know that loads of people read through the comments that I get, and also I use them for kind of research for future or inspiration for future videos that I'm going to do. So please do share. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love it if you could subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, because that really helps me grow this channel. The YouTube algorithm likes that, and then it kind of picks up and shows the video to more people. And it is absolutely free to subscribe, and it makes a really big difference to me, so thank you if you do that. Remember, you are in perfect time. See you soon.